Welcome back to On to the Next Thing. I'm Michael, your host, and today we're going to discuss two of the biggest horror movies of the past year, and then one that I just kind of saw and fits with the theme, because they're going to cover three different types of horror that I think are kind of the modern horror movie archetypes. I know it fits with the seasonal theme of mid-July, so I decided that this would be a great time to record this. So we're gonna get into those. You're probably gonna recognize at least two of them. So hopefully you'll understand what I'm talking about here. But first we got to get into some bird news. Yeah, check the bird news a little bit earlier. Not the best. All right, it's a lot of sad shit for the spooky season. You know, July 13th, July 13th. Yep. Yeah, exactly like mid-July, right in the middle. Perfect. Spooky. Bird news. We got BBC Wildlife Magazine. Here's the title. It's one of the world's most intelligent birds, whose curiosity and taste for meat led the New Zealand government to encourage their mass killing. Subtitle. With its intelligence and almost human sense of humor, the Kia is a firm favorite in New Zealand, but its appetite and curiosity can lead it into trouble. This is by Debbie Graham. All right, let's see what New Zealand has to offer for bird news. I don't think we've had a lot of New Zealand bird news, which is surprising considering they have so many funky birds over there in New Zealand. This is from today, too, July 13th, at 5 o'clock in the morning. Damn. Although I guess that makes sense. They're over in New Zealand. As some of the world's most intelligent birds, Kia are extremely inquisitive, appear to enjoy problem solving, and engage in playful activities seemingly for fun. Qualities that endear them to us, yet bring them into conflict. Endemic to New Zealand's South Island, Kia have evolved over millennia to survive harsh alpine conditions. They became omnivores with sharply curved beaks and claws suited to foraging on berries, seeds, and grubs, as well as scavenging the flesh from carcasses. They play an important part in alpine ecosystems by spreading seeds across the mountain ranges. Across the mountain ranges. Around 12% of New Zealand's alpine flora depend on Kia. With few other sizable meat eaters around, Kia flourished. Today, however, the bird's neophilia, their love of new things, has become a double-edged sword. Neophilia? Isn't that just called being alive, that you like new things? Whatever. All right, fucking scientists. Okay. All right, their neophilia, their love of new things, has become a double-edged sword, ensuring their survival, but also, with the arrival of people, their destruction. It's really ensuring their destruction? Damn. Are Kia's parrots? Yes, the Kia belongs to the parrot family. How big are Kia birds? Kia birds are usually between 46 to 50 centimeters in length. Males are up to 20% larger than females, with a 1 meter plus wingspan. Males weigh 960 grams, while females weigh 780 grams. What do Kia birds look like? Kia birds are olive green overall with black scalloping to feather edges, blue primary feathers, and orange-red underwings. Juveniles have a yellow area around their eyes, bills, and nostrils, which fades to black by 3 to 4 years of age. I hope all of you listeners out there have a little bit of an ornithology background so you know what primary feathers and underwings are. Because I barely know what primary feathers are, and I think that underwings, I'm just going to infer, are the under part of the wings, perhaps the down. Alright, where do Kias live? Kias live in the alpine regions of New Zealand's South Island, now largely confined to reserves and national parks. They favor mountainous areas, including high meadows, scrub, forest, and scree slopes. Often found near to humans, sometimes descends to the coastal lowlands. Okay, that wasn't a complete sentence at all. Alright, whatever. What do Kia birds eat? They enjoy an extremely varied Okay, this is like I don't even know if this is AI, because this is just straight up missing words. They enjoy an extremely varied, featuring a wide range of plant and animal matter, including meat. That's what animal matter is. Alright, maybe this is AI, because that's fucking stupid. How long do Kias live? The oldest known captive individual lived for 50 years. Are Kias at risk of extinction? Yes, IUCN has them down as vulnerable to extinction with the population decreasing. Why have Kias declined? Ironically, the bird's inquisitive side, which has made them so well adapted to life in tough environment, has also played a part in their massive population decline. European settlers came in the 1860s, but Kia's problems really began with the introduction of sheep farming. They garnered a reputation for being pests. Kia relished high-energy foods such as fat and soon learned to cut through the backs of sheep to reach the fat around their livers. Oh my god. As a result, the government introduced a bounty of 10 shillings, equivalent to New Zealand $120 today, or approximately 62.5 pounds, for every Kia killed. Around 150,000 Kia were exterminated between the 1860s and 1970. The settlers also brought invasive predators with them in the forms of stoats and rats from Europe, brush-tailed possums from Australia, and domestic cats. Of course, it's always the domestic cat's fault. With plentiful dense forests and abundant food, the alien mammals thrived, soon threatening many of New Zealand's ground-nesting native birds. Kia nest in burrows, so were vulnerable. Once again, another beautiful sentence from Claude. Yet the species did not become legally protected until 1986. Nowadays, Kia face a whole host of other threats to their survival too. Bruce McKinley of the country's Department of Conservation explains, Kia can adapt their behavior to explore new things in their environment very quickly. However, from an evolutionary perspective, humans and Kia only have shared the land for the blink of an eye. People bring objects into the environment and create situations that Kia are not really biologically equipped to handle. Mark Brabin, one of the initiators of a citizen science project called the Kia Database, agrees. Quote, Kia see wires and power lines and want to know what's inside them. 3 birds were electrocuted in the Temple Basin ski pass area recently. Another serious issue is cars. 5 Kia were hit by vehicles in Arthur's Pass last year. Kia like a high-protein, high-fat diet, so when a tanker filled with cream turned over and spilt its contents all over the road, it naturally attracted the birds. All right. Here's the thing, though, Mark Bribin. I feel like 3 birds being electrocuted by power lines and then another 5 being hit by cars is not really the same magnitude of issue as 150,000 being exterminated by settlers. So I think we kind of got to focus on the bigger problem, which is the habitat loss and the killing by farmers and things like that, rather than them eating too much cream and enjoying electricity. But once again, that's just my point of view here. Let's see if this article goes on forever. Okay, there's only like one more paragraph. Let's do this. It is this scavenging, curious behavior that puts the birds... No, it's the fucking farmers exterminating them. Guys, it's not the fact that they like cream that puts them at risk. I'm telling you. I'm really telling you right now. Several types of human food, such as chocolate, are poisonous to the birds, yet people offer them chocolate quite regularly, and Kia have even learned to steal it from kiosks in the ski areas. Once again, dude, I mean, you can just tell people not to give them fucking chocolate. And also, people in Australia shouldn't have chocolate. That shit's gonna melt immediately because they live on the surface of the sun. All right? This is not the main issue. The other issue is waste packaging, which Kia can easily eat while scavenging for food. Quote, I've seen photographs of Kia with their guts full of wrappers, plastic, and other rubbish, he says. All right, that's a bigger one. Plastic, you know, we're getting plastic in our guts when you think about it. The scavenging is not just limited to food. Lead poisoning is an unusual but unfortunate common cause of death in these alpine parrots. Kia are attracted to lead flashings found on the old buildings here, but when they peel it off, they can get lead poisoning. For some reason, lead tastes sweet to them. Well, I don't know. That doesn't sound so crazy to me. Lead has always had quite the enticing flavor to me and all of my kin. The Kia Conservation Trust has an ongoing project to identify, remove, and replace all lead on buildings in South Island. That's probably a good idea just for everything. Anything. Like, just stop putting lead on shit, you know? It also tests Kia for lead levels in their bodies, so the treatment can be given before it's too late. And I guess that's the end of the article. Just, don't give them chocolate and don't give them lead and ignore the fact that we already exterminated a bunch of them, so that's the only reason why this type of bullshit is even affecting their population whatsoever. All right, great article. Thank you, fucking AI BBC Wildlife Magazine. All right, Times of India talking about the turkey vulture. I'm sorry, I see turkey vultures every day. I don't care. City contractors, lame. Rise in swan numbers despite bird flu outbreak. That's pretty cool, except swans will fuck up other birds. So it's not great for birds in general. How about this one? All right, we'll do one more sad one and then move on to the main topics. This is bullshit. This is from WKBW, Buffalo News, Buffalo, New York. City contractors destroy bird habitat at nature preserve during nesting season. What a bunch of pieces of shit. This has been covered by Holly Kirkpatrick in Buffalo, New York. Contractors working for the city of Buffalo cut down trees and destroyed habitat at Times Beach Nature Preserve at Buffalo's Outer Harbor during nesting season Friday, alarming conservationists and prompting a response from Deputy Mayor Swanekamp. Swanekamp? What is this? Oh, they're trying to, like, tell me something here. There's, like, audio going on from the ads. Hey, shut up. We need, like, okay, oh my god. All right, wow, it was trying to, like, give me an audio recording of the article. I can read it, thank you very much. This is my audio recording. The city-owned nature preserve is home to more than 230 species of birds, but some had a rude awakening when city contractors arrived with heavy machinery, chopping down trees and mowing down vegetation. The patch on the edge of the preserve was home to rare species, including families of red-headed woodpeckers, barn swallows, and tree swallows. Friends of Times Beach Nature Preserve Fonder? Guys, please. This is why AI is taking over, because the human authors can't fucking spell for shit. Friends of Times Beach Nature Preserve Fonder, J. Burney, tells me important nests seem to have been lost to the damage. Quote, we've discovered that most of the birds that were here, the 30 species we've had in the last couple of weeks and the many, many nesting birds, they don't seem to be here. It's deadly silent down here. It's like the summer has turned silent, Burney said. Burney stepped in to stop bulldozers on. Bulldozers on is one word, by the way. Excellent editing. He stepped in to stop the bulldozers on Friday afternoon. Quote, I said, you can't go in, I won't let you go in. I mean, I'm not a big guy, and I'm sure that would have worked out, Burney said. A standoff followed, with police being called to the scene. Burney also called the mayor's office. Deputy Mayor Benjamin Swanekamp attended. Quote, he was here within 15 minutes, Burney said. Swanekamp stopped the contractors, AJ's Tree Service. I know those motherfuckers. Those guys suck. Actually, I don't think, maybe not. There's a lot of tree services. Maybe it's a different one, because this is over in fucking Buffalo, New York. Who were brought in to clean up storm damage. He told me the mayor's office was not previously aware of the work being carried out by the city's forestry division. Quote, I was pretty shocked. I'm a bird enthusiast like the mayor. It seemed like a pretty heavy-handed approach to tackling those trees, Swanekamp said. The deputy mayor, they're still trying to talk to me. There's still a fucking audio prompt going on. I'm not listening right now, bro. The deputy mayor added the city has only managed the nature preserve for 2 months, so the workers are more accustomed to clearing parks and roadways rather than the delicate work of nature preserves. The incident is the second blunder by the city's forestry division within a month, which is managed by interim parks commissioner Stephen Buccilli. In June, city workers mistakenly cut down a tree on private property in South Buffalo. So why the mishaps? Quote, we talked to Commissioner Buccilli wait, hang on. Let's listen to this complete sentence. We talked to Commissioner Buccilli, educating we want forestry to take a much softer touch, Swanekamp said. Let's be more conservative with where we're going in and focus on planting more trees, not cutting trees down right now. Thank you, Swanekamp. And that's the end of the article. A quote from our eloquent deputy mayor, Swanekamp. Excellent stuff. All right. Yeah, I think that's about it. All the bird news today is really bad. It's just the Times of India talking about how turkey vultures exist, and then a hotel being built on top of birds, and more swans, and then another like local fucking ordinance about birds. Some stupid shit like that. So yeah, let's just get to the main topic, which I have about 3 lines of notes for to cover approximately 3 full-length feature films. Okay, we're going to talk about 3 different types, 3 kinds of scary here. All right, that's going to be the title of this video. It's not going to be some little funny play on words thing. It's not going to be some quote. All right. The title of this video, this episode, is called 3 Kinds of Scary, because we're going to be talking about 3 kinds of scary movie in the modern horror film era. All right, and we're going to be doing that by showcasing Obsession, Backrooms, and Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which are three major modern horror films that I have seen in the past year. Honestly, you guys, all of the audience out there, you need to rejoice that I'm finally going to be reviewing a movie that's from like the past year or so, some shit that's culturally relevant. You guys are going to love this because I only really remember like the third one, but we're going to do our best. Okay. I have the Wikipedia pages up and it's going to be just fine. Okay. All right. Let me just figure out how I'm going to organize this real quick. Psych, I was just wetting my whistle. All right. So we got three films. Obsession from 2025, directed by Curry Barker. Backrooms 2026, directed by Kane Parsons. And then Lee Cronin's The Mummy, directed by, you're never going to guess this one, Lee Cronin. So Obsession technically came out first, even though I kind of saw Obsession and Backrooms at roughly the same time. And they were shown in theaters at roughly the same time. I don't quite remember why Obsession got kind of a delayed release date. I think maybe they had like some other thing going on. Like, I don't know. There's like development, 8 months, screenplay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think they maybe just had to reshoot some stuff or something. Oh yeah, that was why, because they filmed like multiple endings or something like that. Yeah, and reeled in 2025. Yeah, blah 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 blah. I don't know. I guess it was because it was released in a festival first. Right. That's how some of these work. But anyway, what's interesting about these first two movies, Obsession and Backrooms, is that even though these are two very new directors in the feature film world, I've actually had experience with both of their works on YouTube. And it was kind of funny with Obsession. I had kind of forgotten that I had seen, or rather, I didn't know the guy's name. I didn't know Curry Barker. I didn't know who he was. But as it turns out, he had directed a couple of things. First, he had directed some like kind of really really oddball comedy skits about just kind of impossible social situations, and this kind of gets us into what type of horror movie Obsession is, because for Curry Barker, it appears that awkward social situations turned up to just extreme intensity are his bread and butter. Just making things just like so awkward they're like frightening, and it makes you want to run, basically. And so this comes out in some of the comedy skits, which is like, you know, it still is funny in those cases. It's not like so much where you're like, this is unpleasant and I want to turn it off. But you might, if you're kind of sensitive to cringe like I am, you might be like, ooh, I don't like this anymore. I don't want to be in this situation. I'm gonna skip until the punchline at the very end where someone gets like has a heart attack or just like screams in a goofy way or whatever. Like he had one where it was like a guy. It was like a guy at his job at a convenience store. And this weird dude, played by Curry Barker himself, comes in and is like, and just starts like drinking a soda off of the shelf. And the guy at the counter, our everyman, is like, hey, you can't do that. And Curry Barker's like, yes, I can. As long as I finish it, I get to keep it for free. And it just sets off this whole bizarre scenario where then the manager comes in, and then worst nightmare, the manager is agreeing with the fucked up customer that, you know, if he finishes, like whatever soda he finishes is free, but then also the cashier has to stop him, but also he can't touch him. And it's just insanely like just uncomfortable situation where it's like your job is on the line and you're in a situation with no power and you're dealing with a fucking crazy person and there's just nothing you can do. And that's kind of what Obsession becomes to an extent, except you're kind of dealing with two crazy people who are crazy in different ways. But I had also, out of Curry Barker's filmography, I had also seen another one of his horror shorts called The Chair, which is honestly probably more honestly more disturbing than Obsession, just because everything is so concentrated. And it's a short film, and it incorporates a lot of time jumps that are extremely jarring, where it's like you're just all of a sudden thrust into a situation where you have no idea what's going on. Um, and I think probably a parallel between The Chair and Obsession is that the the actors and their performances really make the films work. Like if it wasn't for actors really going for it and really like really trying to like, take the script seriously and but also be as unhinged as possible, then the stories just would not be working at all. And that's the same for Obsession. Um because Obsession is basically it's like a monkey's paw scenario, but it's about awkward Gen Z era relationships, which it's so obviously it just gets turned up to fucking 11 because if you've seen the trailer, you know that quote unquote the girl goes crazy, but it's kind of why she goes crazy that's also so fucked up. And then once you have that premise down, it's a very basic premise, but then Curry Barker does what he does best, which is just creates these scenes that just turn the awkwardness and the level of being physically uncomfortable in being in that situation, and he just turns it up to 11. And I know that I was never particularly like frightened. I wasn't like frightened for like, oh man, I'm scared this is going to happen to me, or oh wow, this is like so intense, like I don't know how this guy's going to get out of this. It's just kind of like it's kind of just like I know who these characters are. They've established themselves very well, and I don't know how they are going to get out of this, just because I know like who they are and like what their weaknesses are. And now it's just being like just like this bad situation where the guy has wished for like his crush to love him more than anyone else in the world, and then this just being taken to the extreme, but then him being too much of a pussy to get to like back out of it in any way. It just I don't know, it just made my nerves fried the whole time, and I just did not like being there watching this take place. Even if like at its, materially the film is pretty inexpensively made. There's not that much gore except for one particular scene. And but like the rest of it, it's literally just like Blumhouse settings, because it's a Blumhouse film. It's all just set in like one house and then like one other setting. And so it's like I was kind of like, yeah, it's like I'm watching a Blumhouse film, and I know how Blumhouse films usually make me feel, but then the performances and just the perfect nightmare scenario of the script really just makes it that intense and that disturbing and that unpleasant. And so that's the type of scary that Obsession is. It's the like the social awkwardness turned to an extent where it's like physically uncomfortable and unpleasant. Um, and then, kind of mixed with a supernatural element as well. All three of these films have some sort of supernatural element. They're not all exactly the same. In fact, they're all quite different. But this is like supernatural, but like a supernaturally enhanced social awkwardness that just it makes your skin crawl. And there's a reason why a lot of people, especially in my generation, like are got really freaked out by it and got really really into it, because it's the type of like social alienation that you find nowadays, and then just turned up to 11. And yeah, really well made stuff. One other thing about it, Curry Barker is a nepo baby, but I mean, I think he uses his nepo baby status, and he plays to his strengths, and just makes good movies. So I can't really criticize him just because his dad is a playwright. Lots of lots of people write plays. That doesn't mean that their talent, or that their like their family's talent translates into their own career. Anyway, Great movie. Socially awkward horror. Obsession. Perfect. Backrooms. Very different type of movie. It's the type that I like better because I like stuff that's I like science fiction. I like science fiction horror. I like kind of sort of Lovecraftian, interdimensional, like fear of the unknown type of horror. And that's what Backrooms is. It's fear of the unknown. It's directed by Kane Parsons, who I believe is the youngest director to have like a film that he's the youngest director to have a film that reached #1 in the U.S. box office, and that was because he's like 23 or something like that. Let me just check. It doesn't say right in the first paragraph here. Oh my god, that's brutal. He was born in fucking 2005. That makes me okay. I forgot how young Kane Parsons is. That honestly makes my skin crawl more than Obsession ever did. This is probably also why I like the film better, because it's just like, oh wow, this is like my little brother made a movie and it freaked me out. And so that's why it's probably so impactful. Look at this little bastard. Oh, by the way, the picture that they've put in the Wikipedia profile here, he specifically said in interviews that he hates that fucking photo. And to be fair, he does look like a fucking doofus in it. I feel so bad that like whatever it was, like Parade or whatever stupid fucking magazine with their photography department took this photo, because it makes him look like a fucking dumbass. He's just like staring kind of blankly, like just off of the camera. Like that is not the photo to use, but I guess that's kind of how they wanted to portray him in whatever magazine cover they put him in or whatever the fuck. But yeah, he's 21 years old. Like he finished making this film when he was like when he was 20. Like he was 20 when this film came out, which is fucking crazy. But like with Curry Barker, he's another director where I had seen a lot of his work on YouTube. I wasn't like, I wasn't like super into the Backrooms creepypasta from the beginning. Like I wasn't going there. I wasn't on the fucking forums back in 2014 or whatever. But I think it was kind of a thing from what I've gathered from the research, like the idea of the Backrooms, like kind of an interdimensional, liminal space that kind of just shows basically just shows like a shitty, like a poorly designed room from like the like the late 90s or like maybe like the early 90s, because it's got just like nasty yellow wallpaper and just everything's just kind of like fucking fluorescent and kind of like garish and nasty looking. So I guess maybe like early 90s or late 80s style room, but it just goes on forever. And then the idea is that, oh, what if there's something in there? And it's like, it's partly scary because it just goes on forever and you can get lost. And then the other part of the creepypasta, depending on who is on whose version you're looking at, is that there's something in it, right? And then Kane Parsons, he was like a teenager. Like he was like a teenager. He was like probably like 16 years old when he came across this material. And what he did is that he used his very advanced talent at CGI and his burgeoning interest in filmmaking to create these horror shorts on YouTube that are just they're 100% CGI. They're all like a lot of them are in the first ones are all in the found footage style, where it's all first person, and so the whole thing can be CGI, and then he puts it through like a grainy filter, and it makes it look like a real room just being filmed through just some old video camera or something. And it's it's just a very cool style, and it's it's why it tricked like certain dumb people into thinking it was real, kind of like Blair Witch Project type of thing, but more impressive because the entire environment is CGI. And so it's crazy that he is able to make it feel like that kind of visceral and real. But yeah, he made a series of shorts based on the Backrooms creepypasta, and it gained a lot of attention. I think his most popular videos are in the probably tens of millions, possibly up to 100 million views at this point. I haven't checked in a while, but they were definitely in like his most popular original like big short film was like, it was like 20 minutes long, and it had like 40 million views or something like that. So very impressive stuff, and obviously, real production companies like A24 took notice that that this sort of thing is becoming popular, and yeah, and so I guess that they took him on because he's obviously very talented, and so I saw this in theaters like with Obsession. I believe I saw it a little bit after Obsession, which makes sense because it came out a little later, but they both had a showing in theaters that overlapped enough where a lot of people were able to have kind of a what was the thing, Barbenheimer, where it was like Barbie and Oppenheimer, except instead of two contrasting films, it was kind of just, I guess it was a little bit contrasting because it's, as I'm trying to make the point of here, it's two very different types of horror film. Obsession is definitely like kind of like social zeitgeist horror, where it's just like, ooh, relationships are fucking hard, and what if you're like a fucked up loser, like how far would you be willing to go to like have a girlfriend? Which admittedly is kind of niche, but everyone likes a fucked up relationship. Like, lots of people like seeing fucked up relationship drama, and that's just that turned up to 11. But then you have something like this where it's like kind of a weirdo, like fringe internet sci-fi concept, but then kind of brought to the forefront and elevated to an extent, where it becomes kind of like more psychological, and it becomes kind of like, oh, what are you imprinting on this, on this like extra dimensional space here, and like, what sort of things are created from that. And yeah, once again, don't want to spoil it too much because this isn't like Obsession. If you haven't seen it, I mean, I think a lot of people have seen both of these movies at this point. They're both very popular, but I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it. But it's very different than Obsession, and I liked it better because it has a lot more of the kind of fear of the unknown, and like kind of new unknown otherworldly environments. It's not like it's like Somewhere on Earth, but it's also not. And yeah, and kind of like a little bit of the nostalgia, because it is technically kind of a period piece. I think the film is set in like somewhere in the mid to late 90s. So it has a little bit of the nostalgia element, but it's mostly just kind of a really creative sci-fi horror film and idea. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed it more than Obsession, but that's just because relationship horror and like anything involving like social awkwardness or secondhand embarrassment just repulses me in a way that honestly kind of like goes beyond my normal threshold of like, feeling like adrenaline or fear and horror. Like that sort of thing, that sort of secondhand embarrassment tends to push me over the edge to the point where I don't fucking like it that much. And so I liked Backrooms a lot more. Just because, I love that shit. I love the idea of exploring new places, and like the whole liminal space thing, and like, oh, what could that actually mean, in in the context of us? Like what does that actually mean? Does it mean like a place where like, oh, just a place that looks spooky, or is it a place where like, where like our own fears and our own desires and our own memories are imprinted, and that sort of thing. Very interesting concept, and also not a difficult story to follow. Is pretty easy to digest. I remember I went to the restroom afterwards, after the movie, and some broccoli head 18-year-old was like in the urinal next to me, and he was talking to his friend, and he was saying like, oh, I'm gonna have to watch so many TikToks to like figure this one out. But he said that, and that was stupid. Sure, that was stupid. But also he was like talking about the movie and he was like kind of talking about it with his friend, where it's like, oh yeah, this meant this, right? And this was like because of this, and is like, yeah, I guess it was maybe a little bit easily digestible, but that probably was to its benefit, especially since it's being directed towards like young people, you know, a lot of which who aren't being exposed necessarily to like, you know, really artistic films and things like that. So, I mean, it was just good to see people actually talking about a movie and not just like, oh, different scenes, like, oh wow, did you see this clip? Like they were actually watching the movie and like kind of figuring out the concept, even though it's not like some crazy difficult concept, but at least they're trying to figure it out, you know? It felt good. All right. It felt good. Um, Overall, I mean, not a feel good movie, but it felt good to see people actually like trying to like think about it. And it felt good to kind of like understand where it was coming from and like just kind of see this whole new, um, yeah, I mean, not entirely novel idea here, but like definitely one that's a little bit new for like big screen film. Like anything that's kind of like, oh, about like interdimensional or like vaguely Lovecraftian, where it's like, oh, other dimensions, other universes, other states of being and things like that. That stuff doesn't always translate to film very well, but this is kind of very like straightforward in a way, and then it had, like with Obsession, it had good performances that backed it up. I do want to I'll shout out like the first couple cast members just because. Get the fuck out of here. God damn it. Why am I on the freaking thing? I'm trying to get to the fucking cast, bro. All right. Yeah, very, very good actors who have been in other movies that I can't quite remember right now. Chiwetel. Oh, fuck. Hang on. How do you pronounce his name? Okay, right. Is, yeah, Chiwetel Ejiofor. I fucked it up. It doesn't matter. But he's a British actor. He's been in a lot of films recently. Starting out with classics such as Love Actually. But yeah, he voiced Scar in The Lion King. He was in Doctor Strange, and he played Carl Mordo, which is like someone you might not recognize if you're not like a super Marvel nerd, but you'd recognize him in the movies. And yeah, he's a very good actor. And then also Renate Reinsve, who is a Norwegian actress, and I also recognized her from something, I think Sentimental Value. Right, she was in Sentimental Value with Stellan Skarsgård, which was a Best Picture nominee. And so it's yeah, it definitely has like a pretty. Oh, and Mark Duplass, who I know him from the Creep franchise. He's a very creative guy. He and his brother, they have like their own little independent production company, and they basically made like a lot of like little weird horror and psychological horror and kind of like surrealist movies. Weird dude, very creative, also a very good creepy actor, but in this one he kind of played the straight man. He played like a researcher in like the company that's like trying to explore the backrooms. Yeah, so those are like kind of the top three there. Obsession also, like I said, Curry Barker works best when he has a really good set of actors who are really fucking acting their hearts out. And you know, top billing was Michael Johnston as Bear. He's such a, oh my god. Oh my god, I hated that dude. It just tells you that that Michael Johnston played really well in this movie, because he really fucking pissed me off. Yeah, Michael Johnston, and then everyone was talking about Indy Navarrete, and she's yeah, she played I can't believe I'm already Nikki, of course, Nikki. The poor girl who gets put into a wish that she wasn't a part of, and then makes life a living hell for everyone else. And yeah, she's yeah, very strong performance from her. I think she had only been in a couple things before this. She's another person where I'm like, oh shit, She was born in the 2000s. Damn, that's fucked up that she's having this much success being born in the 2000s, but not in the same way that fucking Kane Parsons is. 2005, fucking Jesus. At least she was born in 2001. That's more of a similar age to where I am, but like, fuck, man. Fucking Kane Parsons. Don't remind me of that. Even though I reminded me of that. But yeah. Yeah, just a basically a strong performance from everyone involved. It was a lot of little bit more unknown actors and actresses in Obsession. Backrooms had a bit more of a stacked cast, and they were, it had kind of the full strength of A24 marketing behind it, because they already knew they had the viral marketing from Kane's existing shorts. So yeah, very different movies, but both good, each in their own way. They both had their own strong points, but once again, both bolstered by a very strong cast. The same cannot be said for Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which is the one that I saw most recently. This is a film, you might remember it if you saw the trailers you might have seen it during Obsession, if you saw Obsession or Backrooms in theaters. You might have seen trailers for this one where it's like a guy saying, how the fuck did my daughter end up in a 3,000-year-old sarcophagus? And that's the entire premise of the movie. But then actually what it is basically, it uses the Mummy name to make you think it's kind of a mummy movie, but in reality, it's just Lee Cronin wanting to do another Evil Dead sequel. And you know what? He's not entirely undeserving of doing another Evil Dead sequel. Apparently, I have not seen it yet, but apparently Evil Dead Rise was a very good I guess a very good horror movie to the people who like the Evil Dead franchise. I'm not really a big Evil Dead fan. I think it's kind of just like, it's a lot of just like, it's just kind of like stripping all, I guess that's kind of the idea. Sam Raimi's original was just kind of stripping away all of like the pseudo intellectual and theological stuff from a demonic possession, and just making it about like, fucking evil entity who's just evil for being evil's sake, and it possesses a body and makes it do fucked up things and kills people and does fucked up shit. And that was like kind of the kernel the kernel of the idea of Evil Dead in general. And I guess Lee Cronin wanted to take that over to the Mummy franchise. And I mean, I don't know, man. I watched this, and it is one of those ones where it's like, credit to the director. It made me squirm a little bit because there's a lot of gore in it. It's a rated R mummy movie. You don't see that every day. In fact, I don't know if I've seen that ever. A rated R movie about a mummy? I haven't seen that shit ever, because a mummy's just a fucking dead guy wrapped in bandages, theoretically. But in this case, he just took like the general setting of the Mummy and then just made it Evil Dead. And by the general setting, I mean it was like kind of loosely connected to events happening in Egypt, but then most of the meat of the movie happens in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in poor Abuela's house. Oh my god, this fucking movie. I don't know, man. It made me squeamish, but that just made me, what happens when I get mildly disturbed by like gore related things, that just gives me extra motivation to tear apart every bit of what remains of a plot of this of a movie like this. And to be honest, the plot is very thin. There's really not a lot to this movie, other than the cinematography and the gore. And like even the jump scares are not like the jump scares. At one point, they make a hairdryer a jump scare. Like they try and jump scare you with a fucking hairdryer. And so all of the things that are like jump scares that aren't actually like the freaking the mummy girl doing creepy shit, like none of that hits. And right, the only stuff that does hit, or I guess would hit for fans of Evil Dead, or like um I guess certain like kind of torture porn type films like Hostel. Although honestly, even Hostel and Saw, I watched those at a younger age, and I thought that those had kind of more compelling stories than Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Because I guess it's literally just for like Evil Dead people who want to be like, I want to see a little girl kill people and be gross and fucking cough snot onto people and fucking call you a loser, but not actually call you anything hurtful because they need to keep the rating at R. They can't have you call them slurs or anything. The demon isn't able to use slurs, it's only able to call you a bad father and then try and bite you or whatever the fuck. And that's the whole movie. And it's entirely carried by the fact that Lee Cronin, I guess, or I don't know if he himself is a talented cinematographer or if he just knows how to hire talented cinematographers who know how to like reflect his vision. But the camera work is good, and the special effects aren't even like that amazing. They're like pretty good. They're passable for what they're trying to do. Um, but yeah, just kind of like the nastiness of the nastiness of the gore and the different the just the different scenes that happen. There are a couple scenes like kind of right in the second leading into the third act that really are they're the only ones that stick with me through the entire movie. I don't remember any of the characters' names other than that the youngest daughter's name was Maud, which is disgusting. That's actually the most disgusting thing in the whole movie. The fact that this regular ass family, well, I guess they're not that regular. The dad is like a war journalist and he forces them to be living in fucking Egypt and then lets his daughter go play alone in the backyard in like a gated community in Egypt and doesn't even check to see if there's a fucking hole in the fence for a witch to lean through. Sorry if that spoils it for you, but that's just the first part. That's just how the girl disappears, okay? It doesn't tell you how she ends up in the sarcophagus until the end. But guess what? By that point, you've seen so much shit. It's like you don't even fucking care how she ended up in the sarcophagus. You just know she's a little fucking demon girl. And so it's like, why do we even care at this point? Why not just throw her in a fucking vault or something? Just throw her in a mental institution. Give her to the feds. Give her to the CIA. I don't know. Do something like that. There's a lot of shit that doesn't really like them. None of the motivations need to add up. None of any of the character stuff needs to really matter. Like all the character relationships are they're all very just like very flimsy, and it's just stuff that's supposed to be just very one-dimensional so that the demon can use it to turn them against each other. Where it's like, "Oh, you left me. Oh, you weren't fucking watching me, and then I got taken, and now I'm the fucking demon's girl," or whatever. Whatever stupid shit that all these all these directors who want to just rehash The Exorcist or rehash Evil Dead over and over again. They're like, I'm gonna make the girl say stuff, but it's like they need to stay in line with fucking studio rules, and so the only thing they can do is just make it more and more bloody and gory and gross. Because that's a thing that studios allow to happen. They can't let the psychological horror be any more disturbing, right? If you want to get more disturbing, you have to get picked up by like A24 or like some really independent studio or something, because you can't have it like you have to just have it be like anything worse than like, oh, she's possessed by a demon and now she wants to kill people. Like anything worse than that needs to just be implied and also just kept really vague. So it's just like, oh, what happened? My daughter was missing for 8 years in fucking post-Civil War Egypt. What could have possibly happened to her? Well, yeah, probably a fucking million horrible things could have happened to her. Except those don't matter because we know that she's just been possessed by a fucking Egyptian demon, which honestly, in retrospect, out of all the things that could have happened after 8 years of being kidnapped, you know, it's like, it's bad, certainly, and it's definitely going to be bad for you and your abuela. Absolutely. Hey, guys, don't let Abuela near the possessed girl. That's all I'm going to say, all right? Abuela doesn't need to be part of that. Let Abuela go on vacation or something while you deal with this shit. Don't let her be on the front lines, all right? She doesn't need to be there. But yeah, it's like, it's all just, it's very like, it's like immature, but it's like, it's like what like I guess like a 12-year-old boy would consider like, oh, fucking dark and gory and fucked up. Where it's like, it's just 100% gore and like nothing really that psychologically fucked up. It's just like a series of fucked up events that happen, and it's all just like, oh, it's all just like gross. And then by the end it gets like fucking repetitive. Like I said, there's like 2 or 3 scenes in the middle that really stand out. And like even the first one that happened, honestly, even before that, the very first thing that could have gone wrong, like, that girl's going in a mental hospital. I don't care if she's been missing for 8 years. I don't care if my daughter's been missing. I have 3 other kids to worry about. If this one wants to, I'll tell you guys what. If my daughter has been missing for 8 years and then she wants to come back and then immediately headbutt grandma as soon as she starts saying the Lord's Prayer over her bed, I'm sorry. That girl's going back to the hospital. She's not staying in my house. All right? I got too much shit going on. You know how fucking difficult it is to manage a house? All right? I'm not going to need that shit. I don't want to deal with someone headbutting grandma. All right? Especially if she looks like fucking Quasimodo. And she didn't look like Quasimodo when I fucking left her. All right? In fact, I would probably have questioned way harder with the doctors like, hey, is this actually my daughter? She looks like a fucking ogre. Why does she look like an ogre now? Why does she have hieroglyphics in her skin? What the fuck is going on? I would have questioned all these things with that fucking doctor over in Cairo. That guy would not be getting a fucking easy way out with me. He could not just say to me, hey, you should take your daughter home. It's best if she just goes home. And it's like, hey, buddy, fucking Cairo to Albuquerque, New Mexico is like a 36-hour flight. So how about you hold your fucking horses and keep giving her fucking meds, and we can keep her in this hospital a little while longer. I can go get an Airbnb in Cairo. I'm not taking this fucking thing on a 36-hour commercial flight so I can have her alone in the desert with me and my abuela. Literally, this is what the plot, like, literally the family is like, they feel so guilty that like that their 11-year-old daughter got tricked by fucking candy bars. And like, they feel so guilty about that they take a misshapen, possessed demon girl into their home and let it wreak havoc. And let it wreak havoc in ways that I'm not even going to describe in detail here. Just know that there are at least 3 that are very fucked up. And the very first one would have, once again, even before that first one, headbutting the grandma. Spoiler, headbutts Abuela. Hospital. Instantly. Hospital. Prison. Jail. Sorry. No way, Jose. And trust me, I did not say Jose just because half of the family is partly Hispanic. All right? I did not mean it that way. All right? I'm just saying no way am I letting that shit happen if I'm the fucking blank-eyed father. Because the director doesn't care about what the performances look like. And yeah, it's just not happening. There's 3 disturbing scenes in this movie. You can watch it for that. I think it's on like fucking Hulu or something like that. So if you got Hulu, go ahead and watch it. Other than that, don't pay money to watch this. It's not worth it. It's not fucking good art unless you're like a fucking Evil Dead sick fuck who just likes watching what a 12-year-old's idea of like a fucked up horror movie is. All right? You like body horror, gore shit? Sure. You'll enjoy it, whatever. But I was going to say that's like probably one of the main differences between this film and Obsession and Backrooms. the acting and the cast and the screenplay just isn't fucking there. Like, it's literally just like the cast and the script are just a hollow framework to allow the director to create these admittedly pretty fucked up, like, Evil Dead style gory exorcism body possession scenes. But that doesn't really make a good film, you know? It makes a film with like 3 memorable scenes that, yeah, certainly fucked me up when I was fucking strung out after a long ass work week and just was watching it late at night, and, you know, generally not having a good time, to be honest. But, you know, whatever. I'm a wuss. So if you like this sort of stuff, you're gonna like those 3 scenes. All right. But yeah, it doesn't have the other support systems involved. Maybe it has a director who wants to make like this type of movie visually, but he doesn't have the screenplay backing him up. The cast, like, the cast isn't even that bad. Like, I recognize the guy from other fucking the guy, the dad, Jack Raynor. He was in what is this? Sing Street? What the fuck? Macbeth? Midsummer. He was in Midsummer. He was like the shitty boyfriend in Midsummer. All right, and he was also in Transformers: Age of Extinction, which is less impressive, but he put on a good performance in Midsummer, okay? He put on that, so I know he can kind of act, but this was not his best work. The other actors, Leia Costa, I don't know what else she's been in. I guess she's Spanish. She's from Barcelona. She's in something called Duck Butter. And The Wheel of Time. There you go. She's been in The Wheel of Time, and that's about it. Yeah. So this is like, yeah, lower level cast. A lower level cast also not really being allowed to be pushed to like the upper end of their ability either. Like, it's just very fucking, yeah, just very basic horror movie family where it's just like one-dimensional conflict. I'm sad that I wasn't there for my daughter. I'm upset at my husband that he wasn't there, and I'm also hiding my own guilt about not being there watching my daughter. Oh, I'm the brother. I was too much of a pussy to tell my parents afterwards, and that might be why she got taken. Oh, I'm the youngest daughter, and I don't have anything to do with anything. My name is Maud. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it's literally just like a very loose, like, it's like a plastic TV stand to put a big gaudy picture up onto. And that's what this film is. And hey, if you like that shit, if you like just like fucked up visuals, Lee Cronin's The Mummy is for you. But if you're looking for like some sort of successor to Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, which, by the way, Brendan Fraser potentially coming back for another fucking Mummy sequel. I don't care how fucking terrible it is. I'm watching that shit. Brendan Fraser being back, so cool. Fuck Lee Cronin. Whatever. I don't give a shit. This is not that same Mummy. He just wanted to make a movie called The Mummy. Should have just called it fucking My Daughter is in a 3,000-year-old sarcophagus. The movie. The end. That's what he should have called it. That should have been the title. They should have rolled that shit out. What was the production company on this one? New Line. Oh my god. New Line Cinema. Give me a fucking break, guys. I think right. It's because they own the franchise The Mummy, and so that's why they were letting him fucking do that shit. That's so lame. That sucks. Fucking New Line. Right? They made the original The Mummy, right? Or the Brendan Fraser The Mummy. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh no, maybe they weren't. Oh, they did have Evil Dead. Okay, that's why. They're the Evil Dead company. This is all making sense now. But yeah, they didn't have The Mummy. That was Universal. Universal had The Mummy. So I don't know why they get to have the fucking Mummy going on in here. I don't know. That's whack. This is a whack thing by New Line Cinema. New Line Cinema, like fucking really putting themselves down. And then James Wan produced this one. He also produced Backrooms, I think. Produced by, yeah, he was one of the producers Backrooms. And so Backrooms was definitely like kind of a big like semi-corporate push where it's like they knew this guy has talent, they know they want to make a franchise out of it. This is just some weirdo Evil Dead shit. And James Wan seems to be into that sort of thing, so that's, I guess, the type of shit that he's doing. Yeah, and Obsession was kind of out of nowhere because that's just pure Blumhouse shit, where it's just like some producers that you've hardly ever heard of before, and they're just like guys at Blumhouse who took a chance on sicko ass Curry Barker. But yeah, 3 different types of horror: fucked up social relationship horror, Obsession, fear of the unknown, sci-fi, Lovecraftian type horror, Backrooms, and then fucking classic demonic possession, Evil Dead, splatter fucking exorcism possession bullshit, which is Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Which I may or may not be panning because a couple of those scenes freaked me out a little bit, but they only freaked me out for like a day. And then after that, I was just cracking jokes about Abuela, because what happened to Abuela is unspeakable and frankly uncalled for. Why'd they have to do Abuela like that? What does Lee Cronin have against Abuelas? By the way, Lee Cronin is a director. I had seen some of his earlier films too. I watched The Hole in the Ground, and it made me think of him as kind of like a more subtle horror director, where he's making kind of like a little bit more like surreal kind of subtler psychological horror that has kind of like a weird mythological twist. But now I know what he's really all about, which is just he makes it surreal so the setting doesn't have to make sense, and then he can just put whatever the fuck he wants in the film. So that's the type of shit he actually enjoys. So you know what? Fool me once, Lee Cronin, but I don't know, man. Maybe I'll watch Evil Dead Rise, but not because I liked this movie. It'll just be because in case I wanna know what all the Evil Dead freaks have been raving about. That'll be about that. Yeah. I think that pretty much covers it. Possession, demonic, vaguely mummy-themed bullshit, splatterpunk shit, fear of the unknown, and fear of commitment, or fear of I don't know. I guess just fear of being a fucking piece of shit, coward loser who can't be in a relationship correctly. That's what Obsession is. Yeah. But I think that pretty much catches us up on what the what is the zeitgeist in horror movies today, where you have a couple of new creative forces actually trying to tap into what the newer generations care about, and then some people just doing the same old shit to tap into kind of like the core fans who just like nasty, gory shit and fucking known IPs. Oh, I was gonna mention Lee Cronin. It seemed like maybe because he's attaching like the title of The Mummy to this, it reminded me of when they tried to, they had that Tom Cruise Mummy movie, and they were trying to make the Dooku, which is the Dark Universe extended, or what was it? The Dark Universe cinematic universe. That's what it was called, I think. The Dark Universe Cinematic Universe. Right? Hang on. Before I say this, let's just do it. Dooku. What was it? No. Dark Universe. Dark Universe. What was it called? The Dark Universe. But it was the Dark Universe. I guess they were calling it Universal Monsters. Also known as Universal Classic Monsters. Hang on. I think it was Dark Universe Cinematic Universe, and that's why it was the Dooku. Dark Universe Cinematic Universe. Dark Universe. Universal Pictures' ambitious, short-lived attempt to revive its classic monster library as an interconnected cinematic universe. Yeah, the Dooku. The Dooku. Everyone remembers the Dooku. But I remember yep, Tom Cruise, The Mummy, and then no one made anything else because it sucked. But you know what? I think if anyone's up to the task of reviving the Dooku, it's gonna be Irish American film director uh, Lee Cronin. I think he's got this shit. I think that what Universal needs is a number of disgusting R-rated horror movies with minimal mass appeal and just a core following of cult gore hounds who want to follow it around and watch little girls call people the C word. Little girls named Maud. God, that's the horrible. That's still the most horrible thing of all. It's the three horrible scenes, and then the fact that the youngest daughter's name, with no supernatural influence, just the parents. The parents just decided to name her Maud in 2020 or whenever the fuck she was supposed to be born. Terrible, 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 terrible. But hey, long live the Dooku. All right, that's all I gotta say about that. Okay, I think I've talked for long enough about this. We're at approximately 200,000 minutes on this episode, so I think we're going to have to wrap it up. If you like this episode, leave a comment. If you didn't like this episode, if you thought my opinions are bad and I don't know how movies work, and if you think Lee Cronin is an underrated genius who deserves to have his name in front of the title of a movie and not make it sound like dog shit, then leave a comment, send me an email at otntpodcast@gmail.com, or just comment on the YouTube, or hit me up on Blue Sky or on Mastodon at OTNT Podcast. Or just you can't leave dislikes on YouTube videos anymore, so don't bother doing that. Just don't even bother. Just leave a comment, give me some engagement, and I will get back to you because I always do. I make sure I respond to everything. I have a 1 out of 100% comment response rate. So if you got something to say, you're going to hear back from me. Okay? But yeah, make sure to follow, leave likes, do all that sort of thing. Got more stuff coming soon. We're getting back on track. I got all these movie reviews done in one episode. So who knows what I can accomplish in future episodes. All right? So stay tuned. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.